Hello, welcome to Niger Biz Review. It's your host Olumuyiwa George here, founder, the Lodge Consultant. I welcome you to episode 7 of the Niger Biz Review podcast. On our last episode, we had a lady, Diamond Oko. We had an interesting conversation about entrepreneurship and how to build a digital business with little capital. So today we move on to something different, something interesting, and we're going to be talking about how to build a brand, how to succeed with a brand in Nigeria. Welcome to the Niger Biz Review podcast. I want to thank you for all of the feedback that you have been giving to us. I tell you, your feedback has been noted. It has helped us to improve on this podcast. I thank you for subscribing to the podcast. Please continue to subscribe. I thank you for sharing the podcast. I thank you for inviting your friends over to listen to the podcast. And I even thank you for suggesting topics of conversation that we have on the podcast. I'll be right back. Just keep it locked down here. Welcome back. So let's get down to business. I want to ask you a question. What is a brand? What do you think a brand is? Some of you would say a brand is a logo. I tell you, a brand is actually beyond that. My definition of a brand is the sum total of everything that defines you, either as a person, as a company, as an organization, or as a business. A friend of mine would say your brand is what people say about you when you are not in the room. What do they say about you? How do you come off to people? How do they perceive you? Do they perceive you as, oh, this is the guy that, I like what he does. This is the guy that I always look forward to his content. Oh, this is the company that knows how to give excellent service delivery to their customers. Oh, this is the company, this is the organization that has the best customer service in Nigeria. Oh, this is the organization that has really good storytelling. Oh, this is an organization whose graphics are really interesting. Oh, this is an organization that has really competitive prices. Or this is an organization that responds on time. All of these things are elements of a brand. A brand is the total experience that people have at every point of contact with you, whether as a business, whether as an individual, whether as an organization. How you make people feel after engaging with you. That is what a brand is. So today, let's look at what makes up a brand. A brand is the 3 features of a brand are: first, uniqueness. So your brand has to stand out. The world today is filled with so many people who offer the same products, the same services. Oh, you're a blogger, you're a writer, you're a makeup artist, you're a photographer, or you are a corporate organization, or a multinational corporation. Now, you're not the only person who offers whatever service you offer. There are thousands and thousands and several other people who offer the same service you offer. But now, what stands you out? What is that thing that makes people say, oh, okay, this is the organization that I am going to patronize. This is the brand that I'm going to patronize. This is the shop that I'm going to buy for. Or this is the business that I'm going to support with my money. What is that thing? What is that thing that makes you unique? Uniqueness is one feature of a brand. So one element of branding is what? Uniqueness. Another element of branding is consistency. So you don't just say, okay, I am unique, and then it ends there. Oh, my business is unique. It ends there. Now, how do you sell your uniqueness? How do you tell the story of your uniqueness to your target audience, to your customers, to the people who are engaging with your brand, who are interacting with your brand, who see your brand? Do they feel your uniqueness when they see your brand? So I just wanted to tell you that branding is a marathon. It is not a race. You don't stop branding. So far, that business, that service, that product exists. You're actually branding that business or product or service, whether you know it or not, whether you are aware of it or not. You're actually passing off a vibe about whatever you do. So why not take the narrative? Why not take control and say, okay, I want people to perceive me as a great guy. I want people to perceive me as a professional person. I want people to perceive me as I want people to perceive my organization as the best organization in this field, in this service, in this sector. Now, what are the things that you do that helps you to become that person, that everyone talks about? Let's look at the telco companies in Nigeria, for instance. I bet what do you think when you remember MTN? Is it the same way you think? Is it the same way you feel when you think about Glow? Now, when you think about Glow, do you feel the same way when you think about Airtel or Nine Mobile? I bet you feel different. You feel differently for each of these telco companies. Yeah, these guys, they spend so much money creating what they call top of the mind awareness, ensuring that they are in your face all the time. You see them all the time. You remember them all the time. But I'm sure you have a preference to one or two of them. You don't like all of them. You say, oh, I like this one. I like it. Personally, I have stuck to one of these telcos for the past 6 to 7 years. So even if I buy a SIM card from another network, I end up not using it for long. I could just throw it away and then stick to my network. You get? They have they have won me with their service, the quality of service that they have, and so their brand has won me, and I tend to like their adverts as well. You get? So they win me with the service, they win me with their ads, and then I stick to the brand. You get? So one thing, I've mentioned 2 qualities of a brand. I said the first thing is uniqueness. The second thing is consistency. So you have to be consistently driving the story of your brand. And then the third thing about your brand is about the brand, not your brand, because I'm teaching you how to build a brand here, is it has to be memorable. So 3 things about branding, about the brand: uniqueness, consistency, and then it has to be memorable. So I bet if you see an MTN logo, you say, oh, this is MTN. Or you see an Airtel logo, you say, oh, this is Airtel. And if you see a Julius Berger logo, you don't call it Strabag Construction. You say, oh, this is Julius Berger. Why is that so? Because these guys have been able to create what? A unique brand identity. You understand? You don't compare Julius Berger in Nigeria with, say, CCC. Is it CCECC? The China Construction Engineering Company. Of course, there are 2 separate brands. The service delivery is different. You don't compare those things, do you? Now that we've identified the 3 qualities of a brand, let us move into how to build a brand properly. So now, how do you build a brand? When you're building a brand, the first thing that you do is you identify your strengths. You identify your service. You say, oh, okay, this is the service that I want to render. This is the service that I want to render. This is what I am good at. And then this is what I want to do. You get? So now you know what you want to do. You know the markets in which you want to play. You know the service that you want to render. And all of that. After you've identified that, oh, okay, I want to be a consultant. Okay, let's do a real life example. We can say, oh, I want to be a consultant. Okay, as a consultant, what service am I rendering? I'm teaching people how to make sales in their businesses. Also, you've identified your service and you've identified the problem that you're solving. The next thing is, who is my target audience? Who am I solving this problem for? So you can say, oh, I am a blogger, and then I want to be serving gist to people who like to follow celebrities. Or I am a makeup artist and I want to serve women who love to look good. Or you can say, oh, I am a writer and I want to write books for children. Or you can say, oh, I am a businesswoman and I want to serve the stay-at-home moms. Do you understand all of this? So now that you've identified your service, you've identified your target market, the next thing to do is to look at the problems of your target market, the problems of your audience. Now you need to know the demography of your audience. Who is your audience? What motivates your audience? What problems do people in your target market actually face? Do you understand those? I hope you are actually taking notes. You can actually rewind the podcast, to listen to get the point over and over again. I'm a bit fast with the podcast because I don't want it to be too long. However, if you need more clarity, if you want me to go in depth about brand building, you can reach out to me for a consulting session, and then we would help you to bring up your brand, to bring a brand that no one can compete with in your market space. Trust me for that. Okay, so let's move on. So now you know the demography of your audience. You know, oh, this is the age group of my audience. This is the kind of service. This is what motivates them. So you identify the problems that they have. You identify the influencers online that they listen to. You need to know, where do they hang out? Where do they get their information from? Who are the people that influence their decision making? So you need to now get into the mind of your target market to see how they think. This will help you even to tailor services or products that will be relevant to your target market. I hope I'm making sense to you. Now that you've identified these two things, you need to now know the mission and value. Your mission, your values for your brand. So your mission, your goals, your vision for the brand. The truth is, people don't patronize businesses just because those businesses want to make money. People actually patronize mission-driven businesses. Now, a mission-driven business is a business, a service, a product that has a purpose behind it. You don't say, oh, I'm selling this because I want to make money. I'm sorry, you would not really get brand loyalty that way. You should have a goal, have a vision, have a mission. That way people can identify with your brand, they can identify with your business and support you. So people would rather support a business that helps charity, or a business that donates part of its proceeds to charity, than another business who is just out there to make profits. Do you understand what I mean? I believe I'm making sense to you. So now that you know, you've identified the market you want to play, you've identified your target market, and then you have your vision and your mission and your vision. The next thing we need to move into is how to build a brand proper. Now, so what is one of the elements of a brand? You need a brand identity. Now, what's a brand identity? A brand identity can be a visual representation of your brand. If we go back to the telcos that I talked about earlier, MTN has a brand identity. Airtel has its own brand identity. 9mobile has its own brand identity. Glow Network has its own brand identity. So what are the elements of... Okay, let's not even go into the elements yet. What is a brand identity? A brand identity is a visual representation of your brand. Please note that a brand goes beyond your logo. So your brand identity can be your logo. Fine, good. But branding is beyond what's having a logo. Do you understand? So let's talk about a brand identity. So you have your service, you have your products, you've identified your target market, you know your mission and your vision. Now, how can you embed all of this into a visual identity? How can you embed all of this into your logo? So now, when you talk about brand identity, you might now begin to say, what color would actually project my values? What color actually represents my business? What color would represent my brand effectively? So what font? So you begin to look at the font, you begin to look at the lettering, the design for your visual identity. So I told you that. Remember that I said the brand is what? A brand is unique. A brand is memorable, and then the brand is consistent. So now, how do you now embed all of these things into your visual identity? So you now have to look for a way to embed all of these things into a visual identity. And I said earlier that your visual identity can be what? Your logo. But please recall that what your logo is not the sum total of your brand. Do we get? So now you've identified you've made your logo. Now, what is your brand slogan? Do you have a slogan? Do you want to ring a bell in people's ear when your brand name is mentioned? You get what is that short sentence that summarizes everything that you do, that is memorable, that stands you out from the market? Do you have a slogan? So you should now think about having a brand slogan. So now that you have your logo and then you have your brand slogan, there's what they call brand guidelines. I think these are really in-depth topics that I would not cover so much in this podcast because of time. But brand guidelines are how you want your brand to be displayed out there, how you want your brand to be displayed around different situations, the variations of your brand. This brand should always be displayed like this. For what? For consistency. I told you that you have to be consistent with your brand. So you have a brand guideline. So if you want to really develop a brand, we can come up with a brand book for you. So have a brand, they call it brand Bible, where everything about your brand is reflected. But let's go on to the next step about building a brand. So now you've identified, you have a logo. Congratulations. Now you know that your logo should always be placed this way in certain material. So every time your logo is displayed, it must be placed this way. It shouldn't be placed this way. Blah 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 blah. What are you doing now? You're solidifying your identity. You're making your identity memorable when people actually engage with you. So we move on to another aspect of your brand. Now the world is I must tell you, it is an internet generation. So now you have to identify your channels, the channels in which you want your brand to be represented. So you can now say, okay, I want my brand to be on, of course, my company website. I want my brand to be on t-shirts. I want my brand to be on maybe the paper bags. I want my brand to be at the reception of my office. I want my brand to be. So you now have to identify the channels in which your brand will be displayed. Let me give you one secret to branding. So your brand has to be represented at every point of contact with the external audience. Your brand has to be reflected first within your business, So your brand values, your mission, your vision, your goals have to be reflected within your business. And then your people that work for you, yourself, your staff members, now have to project these values to the external world. Do you understand? So you have a company culture. Do you know your company culture is part of your identity? Anything that is part of your identity is part of your brand. Do you know that the people, if you have grumpy employees, that reflects on your brand? Do you know that if you have happy employees, it reflects on your brand? Do you know that if someone gives a review about your business, it reflects on your brand? So these are the actually branding is not a topic that you just finish in one podcast discussion. But so we've covered a lot about branding, but other things, other elements about branding that you can incorporate into your business is the platforms that you want to showcase your brand. So do you want to showcase your brand on social media? The next thing you need to do on social media is to claim your brand name. Do you understand? So ensure that you take your brand name on Facebook, you take your brand name on LinkedIn, you take your brand name on Twitter, you take your brand name on Instagram, you take it on Pinterest, and on every platform that you feel your brand has to have a presence. So and then ensure that you buy a domain name, so you have a website for your brand. So all of these things will reflect your brand identity. And then you begin to tell the story of your brand. How do you tell the story of your brand? By what they call effective content marketing. I did a digital marketing class, and one of the things we talked about is content marketing. Content marketing is how to, in summary, content marketing is how to attract your target customers by giving them value through your content. By giving them value through your content. Do you understand what I mean? So content marketing is one of the ways that you can run a brand, that you can consistently project your brand. Apart from content marketing, so one other aspect of content marketing is actually having a blog. So now you need to be as loud as possible. Not loud in an annoying manner, but loud in such a way that your target audience finds you, and then they come to you. So how do you do that? So that means you have to leverage what they call storytelling. You have to now be known for whatever service or product that you render. And how do you do that? You have to be consistently offering that service or product to your target audience. I believe what I'm saying is making sense to you. You get? So if you have any questions about branding, you can actually send me an email. So the email address is geosurveys44. Okay, just tweet at us. Just tweet at me at the lodge on Twitter, DLURGE, or you send a DM to the Lodge Consulting on Instagram, and I would respond to you. And don't forget to subscribe to Niger Biz Review podcast. Don't forget to give us those positive reviews. Just keep it coming. And if you have a message for us, you can just send us a DM, send us a message on the app, and then we would respond to it. Thank you for subscribing to the podcast. Please share if you found this useful, if you found this relevant. If you have questions, just send me an email, and or send me a DM on Twitter at the Lodge, DLURGE, or send me a DM on Instagram at the Lodge Consulting, DLURGE Consulting, and I'll be glad to respond to your question. If you have a question about any aspect of branding, you should also let me know. I will be glad to respond to that as well. And if you want us to train your organization, if you want us to help you get clarity with your business, we're always here to help. Thank you very much for listening to the Niger Beats Review podcast. I will see you in our next episode. Have a great time. Olumuyiwa George here, your host, and I'm signing out.